Thank you for your purchase of the Hudson AquaGaiter underwater treadmill system. Your AquaGaiter has been tested at the manufacturing plant and comes to you requiring very little assembly. This video is intended to facilitate the installation process. The AquaGaiter comes in 3 horsepower and 5 horsepower models. The 3 horsepower is designed for general purpose and the 5 horsepower for heavy-duty use. There is no weight limit for either treadmill, but for smoother operation under a heavier weight load, the 5 horsepower model is recommended. When deciding placement of the treadmill, consider that the treadmill will be connected to the hydraulic power pack with a twin-line hydraulic hose. It is recommended to keep the distance for the hydraulic hoses within 50 feet or approximately 46 meters. Distances in excess of this affect the performance of the AquaGaiter. The hydraulic hose can be routed underground through 3-inch diameter Schedule 40 PVC conduit with long sweep elbows or routed over the deck. Be aware of a trip hazard if the hose is exposed on walking surfaces. Refer to the manual that has been supplied for more information. The optional wall display should be mounted facing the AquaGaiter at a good height for the person using the treadmill to view. Connect the 10-pin connector that is supplied on the wall display cable to the 10-pin connector at the hydraulic power pack. The AquaGaiter arrives in a wood shipping crate. Unpack the crate and organize the components to be sure everything is there and to prepare for installation. The AquaGaiter power pack requires 240 volt, 50 or 60 hertz single-phase electrical supply. The circuit is to be fused with a 20-amp non-GFCI breaker. It is your responsibility to follow the local codes in your community. The 3 horsepower AquaGaiter is supplied with a 620p male plug. The 5 horsepower AquaGaiter comes with 10 feet of number 10 3 cord and must be hardwire connected. If a GFCI is required, it must be a Class B or a Class A with nuisance protection. The hydraulic power pack is an integrated system that generates energy to the hydraulic motor in the treadmill base, causing the treadmill movement. The power pack consists of a variable frequency drive called the VFD, an electric motor, reservoir with pump, valve block, and quick connectors for the hydraulic hose. Inside the control box of the power pack is the VFD that converts the variable speed for the hydraulic pump. The VFD is ready to use with all parameters set and has been tested as a complete unit at the manufacturing facility. Notice the small round window on the door of the control box. This is where the LED fault code will be displayed if the power pack does not operate. This code will help the service technician diagnose the problem. Look at the hydraulic level sight glass on the reservoir. If the fluid is visible in the lowest part of the sight glass, the unit will operate. If the AquaGaiter will be used continuously or for long sessions, a larger volume of oil will help maintain a lower oil temperature. The reservoir capacity is 12 gallons. The hydraulic fluid is non-hazardous USDA-approved mineral oil. This is to ensure that it is not a hazard to anyone in the water if the oil would ever leak into the pool. It is recommended to drain the power pack and recharge with fresh oil every 18 months, and to clean or replace the pump filter strainer that is located inside the reservoir. It is important to keep the power pack equipment clean and free of dust and debris. Additional hydraulic fluid can be purchased from Hudson Aquatic Systems. Before you begin assembling the AquaGaiter, Check the inventory of components. The AquaGaiter was tested at the manufacturing facility as a complete unit and then disassembled to be placed in the shipping crate. Notice that the hydraulic fluid is already in the reservoir. Set the upright assembly on the treadmill base. Insert and tighten the 3/8 by 4-inch long stainless steel socket head cap screws with the 5/16 hex T handle that is supplied. Place and fasten tightly the left and right support handles using the 3/8 by 2.5-inch long socket head cap screws. You will use 2 at the treadmill base and 2 on the vertical upright of each handle. Set the treadmill where you can easily access the bottom of the side runners to install the 4 suction cups. Twist the stainless steel stems of the suction cup assemblies into the threaded holes on the bottom of each side rail using clockwise rotation. The stems should be threaded in completely and later adjusted for any slope or irregularities in the pool floor. Securely attach the threaded end of the twin line hose to the hydraulic motor on the treadmill base. When the AquaGaiter assembly is complete, then you are ready to lift and place the AquaGaiter into the pool at the desired location. Connect the airline tube onto the barbed fitting on the back of the speed control air buttons. Take care not to let anything get inside of the air tube, including pool water. One of the air transmitter buttons increases the speed and the other button decreases the speed. If the belt speed control buttons operate backwards, simply reverse the airline connections on the back of the buttons for the belt to move correctly. Using the quick connect end of the twin line hydraulic hose, attach the hose to the hydraulic power pack. Attach the airline tube in the places provided on the bottom of the power pack control box. Turn the power on at the power supply and notice the LED in the window of the enclosure. Inside the control box, push the run button that is on the front of the VFD panel. You are now ready to go to the AquaGaiter and begin the treadmill operation. When standing on the AquaGaiter, always straddle the tread belt with one foot on each of the side steps. Press the faster air button and the treadmill will start to move. With the tread belt moving at a relatively slow speed, step onto the tread belt and begin walking. Increase the tread belt speed to the desired speed and proceed with the session. To stop the treadmill, press the slower button until the belt stops. Switch the air tubes on the back of the speed control air transmitter buttons. They may be connected in reverse order. If there is a jerking motion during belt movement, the belt is too tight or there is a restriction in the belt movement. Check the belt to be sure it is centered and not rubbing on one of the sides. Check the pressure gauge at the hydraulic power pack. The pressure should be between 800 to 900 psi and never above 1000 psi. Loosen each of the hydraulic motor mounting cap screws by 1/2 a rotation. If the belt fails to move when the faster button is pressed, check the power pack control box window for an LED fault code. If a call customer service at quality system for a definition of the fault code that is displayed. Make sure the air tube does not have water or an obstruction in it. Disconnect the airline tube at the power pack. Press the air transmitter button several times to clear any water or obstruction. Reconnect the tube and try again. Make sure the air tube is not pinched along the route. You should hear a click in the control box when the faster button is pressed. Listen for a clicking sound at the control enclosure on the power pack when the air button is pressed. If you hear a click there, it is the air switch contact closing when the air signal is sent to the unit. To test this, disconnect the air tube at the power pack. Cut a piece of tubing approximately 12 inches long and push it onto the barb fitting where you just removed the tube. With your mouth, blow a blast of air into the tube. If the tread belt does not move and you do not hear the contactor close, the air switch may need to be replaced. If the power pack motor is running and there is no pressure reading on the gauge, check the rotation of the electric motor on the hydraulic power pack. When looking down at the back of the motor fan should be rotating counterclockwise. If it is rotating clockwise, the polarity needs to be reversed at the power supply connection. Disconnect the power and reverse the two hot leads. It is important to keep the AquaGaiter power pack and electronics clean and dry. Do not allow water or dirt to get in the airline and keep the hydraulic oil free from contamination. It is very important to maintain good water chemistry balance. Concentrated levels of sanitization chemicals affect everything that it contacts and will damage the equipment.